The repo man is having his busiest year in over a decade, and that's a terrifying sign for the entire economy. Right now, the number of people who are more than 2 months late on their car payment has smashed every previous record, even surpassing the peak of the 2008 financial meltdown. We are witnessing a repossession surge of historic proportions. And the scariest part, this isn't just a problem for those who are behind on their bills. The mechanisms behind this crisis are poised to impact everyone. This record level of auto debt has collided with cars losing their value at a staggering rate. The result? Millions of drivers are now trapped in a state of deep negative equity. They owe the bank far more than their vehicle is actually worth, making it impossible to simply sell their way out of trouble. But the surface level numbers only tell part of the story. The real issue runs much deeper, into a labyrinth of modern lending designed to confuse and ensnare. The system for financing a vehicle has become a tangled web of leases, subprime loans, and dealer-specific schemes. It's so fragmented and opaque that even the government agencies tasked with oversight have admitted they can't fully grasp the scale of the risk. How did we get to a point where no one truly knows how much is owed? We built a financial house of cards on 4 wheels. Now, you might assume this is just another symptom of inflation squeezing household budgets. But this repossession explosion is, for now, a uniquely American phenomenon. It speaks volumes about our particular habits of borrowing, spending, and ultimately, falling into financial distress. The average monthly car payment has soared past $500. I'm seeing 37% interest rates on these loans. The recovery agents are working non-stop. This isn't just a number on a spreadsheet. It's taking food from children's mouths. Data from industry trackers shows repossessions have hit a high not seen in 14 years. And we've already raced past the 2009 peak with months still left to go. What makes this even more alarming is that laws protecting consumers from repossession are stronger today than they were back then. So, for the numbers to be this high now means the underlying financial health of borrowers is in a truly dire state. This booming industry has even attracted tech startups looking to disrupt the process, often by skirting the edges of the law. Old-school tricks, like pretending to be a utility company to find someone's address, have been outlawed. So a new digital sleuthing industry has emerged to fill the void. Companies now deploy fleets of camera-equipped vehicles that constantly scan and photograph license plates in shopping centers and your own apartment complex parking lot. They are building a massive involuntary database of your car's location, which repo agents can access for a fee. And how do they gather all this data? They've adopted the gig economy model, of course. They recruit everyday drivers to mount cameras on their personal cars, paying them a commission for every successful repossession that stems from their footage. This passive surveillance would be disturbing enough if it only tracked cars. But an investigation found these systems also cataloged politically themed yard signs, bumper stickers, and even the t-shirts people wear. This allows them to identify and tag neighborhoods or individuals who lean towards certain ideologies. Information that is then sold to political groups and marketing firms. The companies argue it's all public information. They're just better at organizing it. But the primary fuel for this data collection machine right now is the repossession boom, and business has never been better for 3 key reasons. The first reason is the massive price bubble from 2021. Back then, both new and used car prices went through the roof. Supply chains were broken, and people had extra cash from stimulus checks with nowhere to spend it. Interest rates were at rock bottom, creating a perfect storm that led people to take out huge loans and pay insane markups. Today, those enormous loan amounts have met with a dramatic collapse in values, creating a predictable outcome. The average negative equity on a trade-in has reached an all-time high. The one small mercy is that overall prices are still elevated compared to the pre-pandemic era, but this has had a strange side effect. Fewer people are trading in their cars. On one hand, keeping a car longer is a financially sound decision. But let's be real, People aren't holding on to their vehicles because they've seen the light of frugality. They're stuck because they are financially underwater. This is especially true for early electric vehicles, which commanded huge premiums a few years ago, but are now facing concerns over battery longevity. For many, it's easier to just stop making payments and wait for the repo truck to arrive than to face the financial music. If this was just a temporary hangover from a price shock, the problem should eventually fix itself as older loans get paid off, right? Well, to understand why that's not happening, we need to look at the second, more insidious cause: the increasingly complex and predatory world of car financing. In the past, you saved up a down payment and got a loan for 5 years. It was simple. Today, the financing options are a dizzying array of products almost universally designed to get you into a car you can't truly afford. Over 80% of new car sales are financed, and some analysts believe the true figure is even higher. The very concept of a down payment has become outdated for many. Instead, people use the theoretical equity from their current car as the down payment for the next one, endlessly rolling their debt forward into a new, longer loan. This cycle has gotten so out of hand that 1 out of every 4 cars traded in today is underwater. Why would a dealer approve such a risky deal? Because dealerships aren't really in the business of selling cars. They are in the business of selling loans. The car is just the bait. The finance manager has a commission to earn and colleagues in sales who are counting on them to make the deal work. This creates immense pressure to get a loan approved by any means necessary. This is a major reason why delinquency rates on deal-arranged financing are more than double those from other lenders. But the single biggest trick the industry has pulled is stretching out the loan term. The standard 5-year loan is now less common than the 7-year loan. Shockingly, some lenders now offer terms as long as 12 years for up to 120% of the car's value. Let's be clear about what that means. You could trade in a car you still owe $10,000 on, put 0 cash down, and get a $60,000 loan for a $50,000 vehicle, which you would then be paying for until the year 2036. The interest rates on these marathon loans are catastrophic, but spreading the pain over 12 years makes the monthly payments seem manageable. And since most borrowers will trade the car in long before the loan is paid, the monthly payment is all they focus on. We're trading tomorrow's security for today's car. As people take out 6, 7, and 12-year loans on cars, they replace every 3 to 4 years. They make almost no progress on the principal. This extends the period of extreme financial vulnerability indefinitely. Regulators have flagged this as one of the most destructive practices in the consumer finance world and a primary driver of defaults. Lenders shouldn't be surprised that repos are soaring, but they have every incentive to keep this going. Not only does it make them money, but it makes money in a very specific, profitable way. These long-term loans are bundled into complex securities and sold to investors. The paperwork cost is the same for a 3-year loan as it is for a 12-year one. But the total interest extracted over the life of the longer loan is exponentially higher. The final factor fueling this crisis is that it's now catching up with a new group of people: higher income earners. We typically imagine repossession hitting those with poor credit and unstable jobs. And while that group still represents the majority of delinquencies, their situation is a constant. The alarming new trend is a sharp increase in late payments from borrowers with good to excellent credit. The delinquency rate for this group has roughly doubled since before the pandemic. Because this is a much larger pool of people, the total volume of bad debt is exploding. We have to remember that the top 10% of households account for over half of all consumer spending. This isn't just a story about the struggling poor, it's also about the over-leveraged affluent. A recent study found that a staggering 40% of households earning over $500,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck. The main culprits were inflated lifestyles, high-cost cities, and, you guessed it, expensive cars. Ironically, households earning a few $100,000 a year were often better off, as they were less pressured to keep up with millionaire neighbors, When these high earners lose their jobs, they are just as susceptible to financial collapse. This is just one facet of a much larger story. The problems run all the way up to the manufacturers themselves. But that's a topic for another video. If this deep dive into the financial mechanics of our daily lives resonated with you, please show your support by liking this video and subscribing to Winds of Thought. We're just getting started.